Good morning. Sitting here today just thinking about all the good things God's done and how grateful I am that in those difficult moments I didn't bail out. And, the quitters never win and winners never quit statements and things like that are they're easy to say, but we can get weary. And there's a verse over in Daniel, and I'll get to it in a minute, but see if I could find that ahead of time. Here at church, as we enter into summer, we've got a lot of things going on. Of course, vacation Bible school, teen camp, junior camp. We have four summer socials. They're Sunday night after church. We're having food, fellowship one Sunday night. We're just having the whole service outside, and it'll be a fun outdoor service, hopefully not too hot. And we are, so we got those four different types of food and just fun things for the getting together Sunday nights. And then as we get to the end of summer, we have a family conference, family/men's conference. We were, this last year we did a family conference, and it was great. And different people spoke on different subjects in regards to men, women, marriage, children. Brother Alan Domley came in and he preached a Monday and Tuesday night, and that was great. And so we have him coming back again. But Sunday morning, Sunday night, and then Monday and Tuesday prior to the evening preaching, there'll be sessions, and Wednesday there'll be double sessions, and all of those, some for ladies, some for men. We really need to work on developing strong men of character in America, and a lot of ladies would agree with that, I'm sure. But we're hurting for people of integrity, men or women, and way too many professional people. Success is more important than their name, or success, money, or fame is more important than them being able to look in the mirror knowing I've done the right thing. Expediency, how things turn out, being more important than the lies I told along the way. No, we're not going to lie to get a good product. We're going to be honest, and those kind of things. So toward the end of summer, we have that. Then in the fall, in October, we have our Fundamentalist Conference, and first time we've done this, but Brother Mike Johnson will be with us, and then Pastor Jerry Ross and Pastor Terry Angel, those three preachers. Brother Johnson, 40 years pastoring experience, and then Brother Angel and Brother Ross, both in that same area of length of time. Brother Johnson was at his one church, Shasta Baptist, that whole time. He graduated from college a year after me, started the church in Reading, and just retired a year or so ago. But those three men, they are solid, and we want to keep old-fashioned values alive. And it's surprising to me how many people can take what has worked, and especially young people, 20, 25 years old, and they have been the recipients of something that worked, and then they pitch it, and they want to create something new. And I think you've never created anything. You've never succeeded at anything. You've never built anything. What makes you think you got a better idea? It's like someone said that the young people are going to change America and fix it. And one mom said, my young person can't even make their bed. How are they going to make America better? And but that is so much the case that that people want to take what has worked for decades and centuries. In our church, I'm surprised now and then there'll be somebody, they got saved here. I'm thinking of somebody right now. I won the parents to Christ, and then I can't remember who won the young people, but the young people got saved. Well, the young people grew up and ended up several in the ministry, and then they had children, and those kids got saved. So now we got three generations of Christians. Why? Because of soul winning, a Baptist church, an old-fashioned Baptist preacher with standards and convictions, separation, a belief in the King James Bible, a belief in personal holiness, separation from the world. It worked. It works over and over and over. And then to have one of those young people decide that they know better and to grab a piece of one of these things that we believe very strongly and just throw it out and say, well, I know better. And I think you're crazy. You are just plain crazy. Arrogant, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're the one. I have no idea. You know, if you go looking, you can find somebody that agrees with you. No matter what stupid thing you believe it's a flat earth, you could find somebody. You believe that men never got to the moon, you can find somebody who believes that. You believe in whatever, you can always find somebody. But here in the realm of the tangible, what we can touch, what people have seen that has worked. There, just recently, we had a Sunday when I think there were 4 different pastors happened to be at our church at the same time that all grew up in our church and came from here. And then there was another day when there were 3 different missionaries from 3 different countries around the world, and they grew up here. And I think of the number of people who, good homes, good families. I just think, how could you think something that has worked over and over and over? How could you just take and toss that out and become a Calvinist? Somebody who believes in predestination and believes that God causes things and foreordains, or believe in baby baptism. That's a Calvinist doctrine. All the Protestants pretty much have baby baptism. How could someone who grew up with a separated church and a separated home just walk out and go to a rock and roll church because it makes them feel good? Hey, do you go to that church to feel good, or do you go to that church because it's the right thing to do? You got to think through this thing. Is it right, or is it convenient? And we've got to make some decisions. Well, I just love where I am. And I'm not old, but I am way down the road. And I have seen a lot of Christians. And I am at 49 years a child of God, and 42 years pastoring. And started preaching somewhere 45 years ago or so, 46 years ago. And that 4+ decades, I've watched Christians take this road and see how it turned out. I've watched them take this road and see how it turns out. I've watched them throw out their standards of discretion and propriety and modesty, and it always goes further than they want it to go because they can't control it. You know, it's like opening up the bars and the corral. The horses are not just going to step outside and stand there. They're going to go wherever the food is, or maybe they smell their neighbor horse and want to get to be friends there or whatever. But we're crazy. We got to stick to the things that we know work, and we don't need to invent new things. I want to mention just one simple thing this morning. Here in the book of Daniel chapter 7, and this helps us understand some of the tactics of Satan. It says in chapter 7, verse 25, and he shall speak, this is talking about about the false prophet, the beast, one of the bad guys, okay, during the tribulation. He shall speak great words against the Most High, and listen to this phrase, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. He shall wear out the saints of the Most High. You know, one of the character traits of Satan is to just wear you out, just to wear you down. And I'm going to just take a minute or two in defense of pastors. Your church, if it's doing well, if your church is preaching the gospel and preaching and teaching people to love God, if your church is still telling people how to get saved, don't wear out your pastor. He should not have to always be watching the music. Don't be bringing in new styles of music and new slants of music. You say, well, I kind of like this new stuff. What has worked for decades, what has worked for 100 years, it will keep working. What your new stuff you're bringing in, that came from somewhere. And in most cases, you go back to when I was first saved, It's the music that people are pushing into our churches. It sounds like the nightclub music used to. I don't know what nightclubs are like now, but the nightclub music, the secular rock concert kind of music, the dance, the high school dance kind of music, or just the blatant rock music. This new music, don't wear your pastor out. Satan wants to wear down the saints of God. Isn't that what happens to mom? The husband's working a lot of hours, and she's home with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many children, and it's just tugging on her all day long. Words and emotions and why and can I and could we and can I have that and can we do that and this kid hit me and that kid poked me in the eye and running the kids to doctors and running them to school and the poor mom, you know what? She just wears out, and we've got to be so careful, and we got to guard our spouse, guard our family. And Satan wants to wear out. That's the phrase he used there in verse 25. He shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And Satan is he's a studier of mankind. He's been watching people for centuries. He knows. And the dress standards. Talking about your pastor again. Don't keep pushing to get the hem line shorter and shorter. Why? At what point are you going to stop shortening the hem line? You say, well, what's wrong with it just being knee length? Okay, well, let's draw the line there. Well, what's wrong with it being just a little bit above the knee? Okay, let's draw the line there. Well, what's wrong with it being 4 inches above the knee? What's wrong? Well, just wear a bikini. Is there something called modest or not? Look, if you've got a pastor who's trying to stand for decency, don't wear him out. Pushing. You girls that, and I know not many young people watch these, they'll hear the podcast, or it's just the audio, or read the email versions, but our young people come along and they're going to get married, and so they suddenly, a girl who always dressed modestly and discreetly, she's got a wedding dress with no back. I mean, a girl that went to our girls, I'm not speaking a girl, but girls in general that have gone to our Christian school or a school like ours, and they had standards and they knew every day what was appropriate dress and what wasn't. And then they'll call my wife up and so what can I or not can I do with a wedding dress or bridesmaid's dress? And you think, you were in our school for 5 years or 8 years or 12 years. You know what our policies are. You know what our standards are. Just keep the rules. And how low could it be in the front? And don't wear out the pastor. Don't keep pushing, because I'll tell you, when the pastor throws up his hand and says, "I give up," the church is gone. It's just like you're holding the brake on a handbrake on a downhill roll, and suddenly you just let go. It's not going to end well at the bottom of the hill. Don't wear out the pastor. Don't wear out the pastor financially. Keep the finances in order. Be a giver. Shame on the Christian who doesn't tithe. And some people say, well, I don't know if tithing's in the New Testament. Well, I personally believe it is. But the fact is, I've not tithed for decades. Tithing was where I began giving. And I've learned to give much more than a tithe. What are we trying to give God as little as possible? How can we even articulate those thoughts? How can we say, how little can I give the one who gave me his own son? It ought to be, okay, I can do 2% this year. I can do 4 next year. I can do 5 the next year. Well, I lost my job. I'm back to 3%. Well, now you could just draw the line and say, here's what I'm doing. That's what my wife and I've done. And it may turn out good financially. It may not, but it doesn't matter to me. I would certainly I'd like to keep eating. I do like to eat. But the fact is, don't wear out the money. Money worries wear out the pastor. Don't always be pushing the standard of the youth activity. Why can't the kids go to the beach? And why can't the kids go to the beach in swimming suits? And why can't we have a casino night? And how about we all go to the casino or the horse races? And just why would you push and push? If you want a church with no standards and no convictions in our valley, I don't know about where everybody else is, but our valley, they're everywhere. You could pretty much take your pick of the churches. I don't know that maybe there's one more church that would have a stand against gambling and inappropriate dress and liquor and adultery and all that moral mess. I mean, there might be more, but I don't know. I don't go research other churches. It's none of my business what they do. But don't wear the pastor out. Don't wear the parent out. Don't wear the spouse out. See, Satan, he knows some of us, we're not going to just jump ship, but he can wear us out so we don't care. And you can push your spouse with criticism. You can push your spouse with a lack of affection. You can push your spouse with a lack of approval. And until your spouse just says, you know what, I just don't care. It's like tripping a breaker in the house. You get a curling iron and a blow dryer, and then the other girl comes in and puts on her crimper, and then somebody's ironing a shirt, and the breaker at that part of the house pops. So you just pop the breaker. Now, with a breaker, you can unplug things, go out and flip the breaker back on. But when you pop the spiritual breaker in your spouse's heart, they may be just done. Just done. I had a man come in, a good man. I mean, a good man. Bible college graduate, good, successful in the secular world. He was in the ministry some, but never really felt like it's where he belonged. Good success, good Christian. For his Bible college days, got his doctrine straight and his convictions right, and he was good when he was ministry wise. But he was very successful in the world. And he walked into my office one day and said, "Hey, Pastor, just want you to know, I'm done with my marriage, and the weeping's over, and the trying is over, and I'm not coming to you looking for advice. I don't want to be a burden to you. I just think you're as my pastor. I ought to just let you know I am done with that woman." And I thought, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say with that. And she had just wore him out. She just wore him out. And he just said, "I'm not going to live like this. And I'm just not going to live like this." And he told her, and she came to me, and I think she made a sincere effort to change what he had one main complaint, maybe a couple, but one or two at the most. There was nothing dramatically wrong in their home except one or two areas, and I think she tried, but it's too late. The breaker had popped, and he didn't care. He was just done. Now, Satan wants to wear out the saints of God. Over there in Hebrews chapter 12, he says, "Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame." And then he goes down a little bit further. It says, "Lest you be weary and faint in your minds." You see, and that's in Hebrews 12, first 4 or 5 verses. The big danger is we get weary. Satan wears down the saints. The kids pushing where their recreation can be, pushing where their friends can be. And that's why mom and dad have got to be on the same page. And rarely did we have any conflict like this. One time I can remember, and there may have been more, but I only really remember one time that there was I want to go with my friends or do what my friends are doing or whatever, and we just didn't approve. And when it got vetoed, our child was struggling a little bit, and they were older. I'm not sure how old, 17 maybe, 18 maybe, 19 maybe. I don't know. They might have already been in college. I can't remember. I think they were already in college, in which they're adults. I can't prevent anybody. Once they're 16 or so, and you really have very little control over a kid, but one of us put our foot down, and the other one backed him and said, "No, you're not going to do that. You are not going to do that and live in this house. You're not going with those friends to that place and live in our house. Now, you can go to those people and you can go to that place, but you'll cease to live here if you do that. And we won't hate you, but you're not doing that." Now, the pressure, and we were never worn down, because even after that, there was gracious apologies, and that's all decades past, and it was handled very well. Young people battle just like you and I battle, and you get, let's don't crucify our kids because they struggle. And but there was a little struggle, and then later, that I don't know, there's probably been a half dozen times there was an apology over that situation, but you can get worn down, and If your spouse is with you, it's a lot easier to not be worn down by the pressures from kids. Poverty will wear you down when there's not money to pay the bills. Oh, and that's a hard one. Liquor and drugs will wear down your spouse. Now, Satan, he just wants to wear you down where you throw up your hands. Hebrews 12, lest you be weary and faint in your mind. So, you know what? I'm done with church. I'm done with God. Well, you know, one thing I can tell you this, it will never get better giving up on God. Just think about this. I've got problems. I'm trying to live for God, and I've got some burdens. I know how to get things better. I'll throw God out completely. I'll quit caring about what God thinks. Well, that's not going to get any better. That's going to cost me the closeness to God that I need. And as you get older, I can tell you, your body can wear you out. You just get tired. You get tired. You get tired physically. You get tired of doctors. You get tired of waiting on the phone for doctor's appointments. I had a doctor call me for your annual checkup. Well, I'm not going for an annual checkup. But I did have two things I wanted to see the doctor for. Of course, I got to go to that doctor so he can recommend me to that, wherever I have the specialist. And so I called the doctor back and said I need to set an appointment. And of course, I left their message because they didn't answer the phone. And I don't know how many days it's been now. And no call back. And that stuff wears you down. You get frustrated. You get tired of it. You know, how many medications do I have to take? And how many pills? And the pharmacist tells me, hey, this new prescription the doctor gave you, you can't take it when you're taking this other medicine you're taking. Maybe the doctor doesn't remember. The pharmacist should not be catching my doctor's mistakes. But they do. Thank God for them. But let's build each other up. Let's encourage each other. And Satan wants to wear you down. But here's the key. Right where I was in Hebrews 12, looking unto Jesus, keep your eyes on the Lord. He's the one that'll keep you going. Who endured the cross, despising the shame. And you keep your eyes on Jesus. And when you get weary, you'll hang in there. Be not weary in well-doing. Paul writes, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Don't quit. Just keep pressing on. You'll be tired. You may press on slower. You may not have as much energy as you press on, but let's just keep doing right. And let's keep loving God, loving people, loving our Bible, loving our church. And let's wait. God will take care of the business that needs taken care of. Hey, hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining us today. What a Savior. And I love where we are. I love our Wednesdays and Sundays. I love our church preaching. I love to do the preaching, but I love hearing you have young guys on staff. They're great preachers. I love our Sunday schools, our bus routes. I love that I have jails and rest home ministries. Man, what a privilege to be a part of a church like this. Hope you have a great day. Walk with God. Take time to pray for your country, your state, your church, your family, and may God richly bless you.